All right, geometry. So we're talking about lines and transversals today. This is the new chapter, chapter 3. Starting out with parallel lines. Parallel lines you've probably seen before in algebra, but that's just two lines that never intersect. Okay? Or in other words, they go in the same direction. They go in the same direction. So if one is pointing left and right, the other is pointing left and right. Those are parallel. Okay, so arrows are used to indicate the lines that are parallel. So in our picture, you can see the lines are parallel, and then it's indicated by these two arrows. So if you see arrows on two lines, that means they are indeed parallel. So the symbol notation is AB is parallel. So parallel is just two lines like that, parallel to CD. Okay, and those could be lines, those could be segments, any way you look at it. All right. So parallel planes are any two planes that never intersect. So in the same way, planes are going to be facing the same direction, but in this case it's like two flat surfaces. So this is a flat surface, and then another flat surface hovers above it. So like plane K is on the bottom, and then J is not touching it, it's just hovering above it. So those are parallel. It'd be like two steps on stairs. One step is parallel to the other step because they're never going to intersect, and they're above each other, but they are going in the same direction. So in this case, we would say plane J is also parallel, same notation, to plane K. All right. So skew lines. This might be a new term here. Skew lines. Okay. Skew lines are non-coplanar lines, okay, meaning they're not on the same flat surface. So non-coplanar lines can't be on the same surface that never intersect, but they don't intersect, and they're going in different directions. Okay, so different directions, and they don't intersect. Okay. Meant to do that in parentheses. Different directions, and they do not intersect. So in this picture here, some skew lines, like if I looked at, let's say, PS, for instance. PS is parallel to all of these four, right? So it wouldn't be any of them. And it's coplanar with all of those lines here. Okay, so a skew line would be something that is not parallel and it's going in different directions. So for instance, we could have VR and SP or PS. So PS and VR, one's going up left and right, one's going up and down, and they're never going to intersect. Okay? So let's look at another one. Let's take TW, for example. It's going kind of front to the back, and then another one that would look skew to that would be like UQ. So TW is going front to back on top, and then UQ is going up and down in the front. Okay, so they're not on the same plane, and they're going somewhere else. They're never going to intersect. All right. And then the last one, let's do one more example. How about PT? So PT is kind of going up and down here. So a good example of that one would be like QR. TP is going up and down, and it's in the front, And then QR is going front to back, and it's on the bottom. Okay, so completely different lines, and they're never going to intersect. Okay, so that's skew lines. All right, so it says name all segments parallel to AE. This is just a little practice. So AE is going up and down. So we want everything that is also going up and down. So that would be, let's see, we've got FB is also going up and down. We've got GC is also going up and down. And HD is also going up and down. Okay. And then give two examples of parallel lines. Well, all we have to do there is think of two lines that are parallel. So we already did 4 there, so let's try something different. DA is parallel to, let's say, EH. They're both going front to back. Okay. Another example would be something like, I don't know. Let's go left to right. So something like AB is going left to right. And so something parallel to that would be like DC. And then name all skew lines to GH. So GH is this one back here. So we want everything that's not going left to right and that's not going to touch that. So the two front ones, EA is going up and down, FB is going up and down. We also have front to back, that's on the bottom. So DA, front to back, that's not going to intersect. And then BC is not going to intersect as well. Okay, and then for the bottom, we have another practice, but we're going to go ahead and go to the back side to talk about transversals. So a transversal is a line that intersects 2 or more lines. So in this case, T is the transversal. Okay, so line T is the transversal because it's cutting through 2 different lines. That's a transversal. Okay, and we have a bunch of different classifications and relationships for these different angles. Okay, so if I'm looking at corresponding angles are angles on the same side of the transversal and in the same position. So think positioning for corresponding. Okay, so in our case, I'm going to mark these but erase each time, so just bear with me here. So we've got 1 is kind of the top left, and so is 5, top left. Okay, so 1 and 5 would be corresponding. So angle 1 and angle 5. Same thing for another one. So like bottom right is 3, bottom right is 7. So 3 and 7. And then you could keep going with that, obviously, with the rest of those. So we had 5 and 1. We had 3 and 7. We have 6 is top right, so is 2. So 6 and 2, angle 6 and angle 2. And then finally, 4 and 8 are bottom left. So angle 4 and angle 8. Those are all corresponding, okay? Same position. And then when it says alternate, that means opposite sides of the transversal. So again, our transversal here is T, okay? So you've got to keep that in mind. But the alternate interior means they're inside of the 2 other lines. So in this case, they're inside of L and M, and they're alternate. So alternate interior would be 4 and 6 because they're inside of the 2 lines and they're opposite sides of the transversal. So they're alternate on those sides. So 4, angle 4, and angle 6 have that relationship. And then the same way, 5 and 3. So angle 3 and angle 5 are alternate interior. Okay? Same thing for alternate exterior. I've got alternate exteriors, these outside angles. So alternate means they're on opposite sides. So 7 and 1, and then we have 8 and 2. So angle 1 and angle 7, angle 2 and angle 8. Okay. And then consecutive means same side. Okay, so consecutive and same side are the same thing. Consecutive, the word consecutive means right after the other. So if you look at a straight line, it's right next to what that is. They're not adjacent, but like, for instance, consecutive interior would be like 6 and 3. Those are consecutive because they're right next to each other, but on different lines. So angle 3 and 6, and same thing, 5 and 4. So angle 4 and angle 5 are consecutive interior angles, while 8 and 1 are consecutive exterior. So 8 and 1 are exterior consecutive because they're on the same side and outside. So 1 and 8 and angle 2 and 7. Okay, so let's just go ahead and practice with this one, and then we'll kind of move on. So what is the relationship between these angles? So for example, angle 1 and 8, I've got angle 1 and 8. So they're alternate, they're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they're exterior. So that would be alternate. And these have abbreviations. Alt exterior. Okay. So 2 and 3. Let's look at 2 and 3. So we've got 2 here, 3 here. So they're consecutive because they're inside. Consecutive because they're on the same side of the transversal, and they're inside. So that would be consecutive interior. Or you can also say same side interior. Okay. 5 and 7. Let's use green for that one. 5 and 7. 5 and 7 are on that bottom left. So that's our first one. They're the same position. Okay, so they're corresponding angles. Corresponding. Okay. I don't know why that was so hard to write. Let's try that again. Corresponding. And then 2 and 7. Let's look at 2 and 7. We have 2 and 7. I'm going to use a different color here. 2 and 7 are alternate, and then they're inside. So that would be alternate interior angles. Okay, so last two, we've got 1 and 3. 1 here, 3 here. Same thing as letter C. It's corresponding because they're on the same position. So they're top left, top left. So that is corresponding angles. Okay, and then our last one, 5 and 8. 5 and 8 are same side of the transversal, and they're consecutive. So, they're exterior. So consecutive exterior, or in other words, same side exterior. Okay. So these are take some practice, and we're going to talk more about these the next day. But those are all the relationships you want to try, maybe even down here or on the worksheet we're getting. Okay. Peace.